Hey guys, Matt from CleverLeverage.com again here with a question of the week. Question is, Matt, what's the best way to get started making YouTube videos if you're uncomfortable on camera and are afraid that you won't do... What? I think I understand. So I kind of battled this for quite a while. I'm still not totally comfortable. As you can see in some of my videos, I'm thinking about, and I notice that I do this a lot. Like I do certain things and I'd like to stop doing those, but it's just me thinking about what I need to say 2 or 3 frames from now. So one of the recommendations that I have is to start doing practice videos to yourself that you don't care about. So I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of practice videos over the last couple of months. It took me about 2 months to really get comfortable because you're not actually talking to a person, but you can imagine or you can visualize that you are talking to one person. Or like when I do these questions of the week, I'm imagining that there's one person here who's asking for my help and I can talk to them and say, hey, this is what worked for me, this is how I do it, maybe some of these tips will help you out. And here I'm doing it again. So everyone has certain things that they're uncomfortable with. One of the things that I was uncomfortable with is I was worried about how it would come across on camera, because if I'm face to face with somebody, I'm pretty authentic. God damn, I'm doing that shitty. I gotta stop doing that. I noticed it in one of my last videos that I have like certain facial things that I do when I'm thinking, like either scratching my beard or some scruff or like glancing in a certain area. It takes practice to kind of replace that with a different type of behavior or to even recognize it. But if you watch yourself, which I don't like doing, enough times you kind of spot the common ones and you can do stuff to get rid of those. But one of the things that helps is to make practice videos about stuff that you're knowledgeable about so you don't have to think about the content. So if you have a hobby, if you're like into woodworking, or I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, whatever it is, maybe you're into cars, just make videos to yourself about cars. Maybe you want to, I don't know, rebuild an engine or do some sort of head work, or maybe you're, I don't know, have the motor apart and you're doing a port and flow job, you know, on a workbench, and you can take the camera and illustrate how to do that, and then try to produce those to yourself with some sort of intent, you know, to either show somebody something or to help somebody with something, and do that for a little while, and eventually they'll come out good enough to where you can upload them and they would be helpful or useful or at least entertaining to somebody. The other tip that I have is when you're I haven't actually done this, but I'm set up to do it. So I have a green screen behind my lights there, which you can't see right now. You can see in the other video. So I'm shooting this video on the iPhone today, and I didn't have it in airplane mode. Pro tip, if you're ever going to shoot videos on an iPhone, put it in airplane mode first, so that way when a call comes in, it doesn't interrupt the video. I don't remember what I was saying. I think I was talking about for beginners, you can kind of put something behind the camera, like a little whiteboard or something like that, with some bullet points to keep you on track, and then you don't have to remember everything, and you won't develop those awkward pauses or the facial scratching and stuff that I do, you know, when I'm thinking about something or whatever. Anyway, the point is, find something that works for you, practice a little bit, don't be too hard on yourself, and just keep doing it. And over time you get more comfortable, and it helps if you like, these questions of the week work really good for me because, you know, I've been helping people with different stuff for years, especially pertaining to like websites or online marketing or things like that. So I'm used to doing this in person. I just wasn't used to doing it with me in the camera. Because like right now in the office, there's no one else here right now. It's just me and the camera, sorry. And it was weird at first because I'm like, who the fuck am I talking to? How's this gonna sound? Because it's not like an authentic communication, but it just takes practice. You just get comfortable. I will tell you, one of the things that I'm still struggling with, I caught it in my last video, is breathing. For some reason, when I'm thinking about something, or if I have to make a video that I'm not entirely comfortable with, I stop belly breathing. And it's almost like I'm holding my breath, and I feel a shortness of breath. I could see it in my last video where I talked about what the best camera is for new YouTubers or for beginning YouTubers that don't want to spend a lot of money. And I could tell towards the end of the video, I was thinking about the next video and what I wanted to put out. And I was like, it was almost like I had a shortness of breath, and I was like I couldn't breathe fast enough because I was talking too much and I wasn't relaxed. So the other thing that you can do is get your physiology into a relaxed state. So if you want to stand or sit, whatever it is, relax the tummy. Do some deep belly breathes. Get this area relaxed so that as you talk, It has a natural flow and a natural tempo. A lot of times, if you're uncomfortable, you tend to talk quicker. Sometimes it looks like I'm uncomfortable on camera, and it's usually one of two things. One of two things is either the lights, because the camera is between a lighting system that has one on each side, so that it illuminates the face really well. And sometimes just the overbearing exposure to this light. If I'm practicing or doing a lot of videos in one day, it looks like my facial expression is not happy or not into it or not, something could be a little off. So there's that to consider. And then the other thing is, do stuff when you're practicing, do stuff that you're competent at, really, really competent at. So you don't have to think about the sequence. The other way, there is another tip. A lot of times I will write articles first, or I will type out an answer or at least some bullet points to a question, and like on the computer, and I can have that in one of these screens or something. I don't have it for these videos that I'm doing today, but sometimes I do, and I'll just go through that, really quick before I start a video, and then that kind of helps to keep things on track. And earlier when I mentioned having the whiteboard behind the camera, I don't do this, but it's one of the things on my list to do that I could glance at, is to basically sit there and answer the question like I was just saying, and then take those bullet points and put it on a whiteboard. So that way, when you're looking, I could just easily glance up and look at a whiteboard, and you probably wouldn't even notice. That's another thing that you can add to your practice videos, and hopefully they'll start coming out a lot better, and you'll be more comfortable. Once you get a little more comfortable, you get more confident, you're willing to take on topics and do things that you kind of fear a little bit. And then the other thing is, make sure that they look good and people can see your face. If they are dark, you probably are going to like that in the beginning, because then you don't have to do everything perfect and it doesn't look that bad. But it's kind of a catch-22. You should get used to doing them where your face is really illuminated. And actually, in a video that I just did, before this one, is I talked about these lights that I'm running on either side of the camera. And just to show you, if you don't go watch that video, you should go watch it right now, but just to show you, see the difference? For most people that just whip out an iPhone, and keep in mind, this is an office with a bunch of windows in it. If this was in a dark room, there, I'm doing it again. Damn it. I gotta stop that. If this was in a dark room, it would be even worse. And so you see the difference? Like, you're gonna feel more comfortable when you look at this footage because you can't see all the weird shit that you're doing that you don't like about yourself or whatever. Or like me, I'm trying not to hit the desk, but I'm trying not to stand over here where I'm actually comfortable, because I don't have to reset up the tripod, and I don't want to be out of the frame. You know what I'm saying? But in reality, if you start out with good lighting and you practice so that you have good eye contact with the camera, you have good facial expression, try not to squint too much. I notice in some of my videos that it looks like I'm squinting, or it looks like I'm having a hard time. And it's really just over time. If I practice for an hour or so, the amount of light that's in my face, my eyes just can't take it. I need to have a break, or I need to go, outside, and get away from the artificial light. And this is basically the sun on each side of the camera shining into your face. But that's what I would recommend. Hopefully those tips will help you. I'm sure as I get better at this, I'll have other tips. But don't be afraid of just getting some lights and throwing up your iPhone. Maybe get a little tripod mount like I have, and put yourself out there. See what happens. I have one other tip that I should have included before I took the tripod down. Two things. When you're trying to get good at this stuff and you're practicing, begin with the end in mind, and then also begin with a positive outlook. So these things that I have hanging over the desk there, I'm actually going to change two of them, and they're going to say, how can I make this fun? So basically, before you begin practicing your videos, you want to get into a positive state, and you want to think about to yourself, how can I make this fun? How can I make this enjoyable? And when you do that, it comes across to others, and it's more receptive, and you'll get better quality videos out of yourself. The second thing is, just be curious. Start to wonder how, and here I'm doing it again, I'm starting to breathe. I'm not breathing well, but by being curious, you just want to think to yourself, how can I discover how to do a better job at these videos? Or I wonder if I could get really good at these videos. Or I wonder what would happen if I just practiced once a day for 30 days. Be curious. Ask yourself, how can I make this fun? And do that, and it should make a huge difference.